25, 40, run, William, run! He's got blockers in front, 5, touchdown! Joshua Cribbs! Snap back, ball down, kick block! They block the kick!
This is the Oranges, Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chase Smith, and with me, as always, Browns insider Jeremy Powell. Jeremy, happy phase 1, man, or phase 2.
Phase 2 now? Barber's open next week, I know, so you can finally get that haircut.
I do need a haircut.
But anyway, nice.
True.
You need a haircut bad. No, but yeah, hey, guess what? We got special guests tonight. We're going to go over the schedule. There's, actually a lot going on in the NFL, so that's something to keep our minds off everything else. But Chase, why don't you introduce our guests and let's get rolling.
Gladly. With us, we have 2/3 of That's What B Said. We have Brittany Mollis and Meredith Kane. Welcome, ladies. Thanks for joining the show.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course, wanted to bring you guys on. As we all know, we're recording this on a Thursday night at 8 p.m. The Browns schedule was released for 2020. Very exciting. And we wanted to bring you guys on to help us give a way too early season prediction. We're going to go game by game, get all excited, just build into the hype because that's what we do. And another thing, Vegas released the over-under. But before we get to all of that, as Orange's Oranger tradition or custom, we love to hear a little bit about you all. So who would like to share about kind of how they got to where they are at now? Meredith, we'll start with you. You have quite the resume.
Yeah. Cleveland is actually the place that I've been in the longest. I started working in radio when I was a teenager. I did public radio when I was about 18 until I was 22. And then I moved back home and I got my start in sports radio at The Fan in DC. Went from there to Sirius XM, College Sports Nation. Also did some work for the PGA Tour. Then I was at The Game in Nashville, and that brought me up here. And now I'm at 92.3 and also a producer for Browns Radio Network.
Woo! Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. And
I get around.
That's what B said, right? Whenever they were launching.
So who is? Are you the brains? Are you the brains behind that operation? Who's the brains behind that fantastic podcast that I listen to quite a bit?
I'm going to say it's all of us. I had been trying to put together an all-female sports podcast for a while, and everything kept falling through. The people that I was trying to work with just wouldn't commit. And then one day, Brittany tweeted, "How awesome would it be to have an all-female sports podcast?" And I was like, that's it. That's my girl. And within like 5 minutes of her tweeting that, I immediately DM'd her and I was like, Brittany, let's make this happen.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So,
and you guys mesh so well. I enjoy listening to you guys. I think your show is absolutely fantastic. I think all three of you guys are fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Much needed in the Browns Twitter. Brittany, your journey is a little different. Tell us a little bit about your history and journalism and your experience.
That's putting it very nicely, Chase. A little different. Yeah. Well, now I have to follow Meredith's amazing resume. I'm just a clown. Okay. That's it. I just started tweeting one day about the Browns and the Cavs and the Indians, and I was like, hey, you know what? There needs to be more ladies talking.
Yes.
And I hate talking, but Meredith and Bree make my job so easy. So, it's fine. I'll just make jokes.
You're a writer. You're selling yourself short. You're a writer.
Yeah, I'm a writer, but I don't work in sports. I just do like marketing stuff mostly. So, yeah.
Okay. It's all media. It's all journalism, right? It's not like there's only journalism is in 92.3, even though that's good stuff.
Brittany, are you from Cleveland originally? Where'd you grow up? Are you from this area? Have you born and raised there?
No, I'm in Youngstown. And then Youngstown,
okay.
I went to North Carolina for a while and I was a reporter there. And then I came back I'm around Youngstown now again.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
So that's what B said, got hooked up with Blue Wire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which is great. Kevin is from Cleveland. Meredith, did you know Kevin from his time here?
So actually, Kevin's not from
Jones.
Cleveland. So he's actually from the DC area like I am. Like he and I went to rival high schools
Okay.
in Northern Virginia, although he went to like shitty preppy high school and I went to also a shitty preppy high school. So, so it was actually kind of funny because he was working in TV in DC at the time that I was working in radio. And then he was in Cleveland while I was in Nashville. And then he got picked up by the game in San Francisco right when I got picked up by 92.3. So we like just missed each other in DC, just missed each other in Cleveland, and now he's decided to stay out in San Francisco. So, but I did meet him through some Cleveland connections. That's kind of how we got linked up. And I was doing some behind the scenes work for Blue Wire. And when I saw Brittany tweet out about wanting an all-female sports podcast, and Kevin knew that I had been trying to put one together for a while, like I DM'd Brittany and I messaged Kevin and I was like, she's our girl. She's it. And he was like, all right, make it happen.
Well,
Oh boy.
all
I'm
the
so
success,
sorry.
well deserved. Very hardworking. Good on you all. That's great. That's John.
Oh, and then we have to include Bree too.
Yes.
But before we move on, we do have to include Bree because
Yes.
I was introduced to Bree by Brittany because Brittany said, okay, we need another person. I need another person. How do you feel about this girl, Brianna? And I was like, well, I don't know her. So she introduced us and we talked a little bit and I was like, she's perfect. You're perfect. We got it. This is our crew right here.
Awesome.
Yes, she is fantastic as well. You guys, like I said, you guys are fantastic to listen to, and I'm not just saying that because you're here. You guys, you guys are fantastic. I really do enjoy the show. Chase will tell you, he will vouch that I will not say stuff like this unless I mean it because that's just how I am. I don't blow smoke. I think you guys are great, and I think it's an easy listen, which I think is like the best compliment to get about a podcast is being an easy listen. You know, when you can just sit down, turn it on, and listen. And I think you guys are an easy listen.
Thank you.
Very well
Yeah,
deserved.
thanks.
Thank you for your time tonight. A couple weeks ago, Vegas, in all their knowledge, released the over-unders. They have the Browns at 8.5, which was interesting as before the draft, before the exact schedule was released. I was intrigued by that number, and I found myself really longing for that over. Before we get to the schedule, am I wrong, Jeremy, to think that 8.5 is a little low?
No, I think it's probably about where it should be. Like we talked about ad nauseum, the Browns went for it, which none of us expected. You know, we thought Andrew Berry would play the long game. We'd seen him here before. But, you know, the signings in the offseason, the Jack Conklin on essentially a front-loaded 2-year deal, everything they did this offseason said win now. So I think 8.5 is a number where, you know, I think it's a fair number. I think 9-7, 8-8, 10-6, that's all in the ballpark. So I think that 8.5 is just about right.
Brittany, what are your thoughts on the 8.5? Well, that's what it was before the release. I actually just went to the website and it's all down. So that might be re-releasing and kind of reconfiguring that as we record.
Sure, you
8.5.
can.
How do you feel about that, Brittany?
I feel like 8.5, just as in general, like make a real prediction here. You know what I mean? I could say 8.5, just like that's just a throwaway number. Like, oh, they're either gonna, you know, go like 50-50. That's not a prediction of any kind. So I don't even respect that. But way over, way over.
So Meredith, how many times I had to look this up. How many times have the Browns won more than 8 games since 1994?
I think only twice, right?
3 times. 94.
3 times.
So not a lot. If they do hit the even 9 number, that's a pretty remarkable feat. How do you feel about the 8.5?
I agree with Brittany. It's such a weak prediction, but it also came out before the schedule was released.
Mhm.
But I'm like also in a mode where I hate doing the predicting the future kind of thing. You know, just because we're in a world where we're literally living 12 hours at a time. So I mean,
So
this
true.
could change tomorrow for all we know. I mean, that's a little unlikely, but you know, depending on when the schedule starts. And I think they have it set up that I think they call it like collapsible. So I want to say it was like either week 3 and 4 or 4 and 5. They're willing to like just get rid of those games if they have to have an abbreviated season. So it's really, really
Saw
hard.
that.
Yeah, it's really hard to sit here and think about the 8.5 prediction. But honestly, I don't know, I might go the coward route and go 8-8.
The under. It wouldn't be
Howard
Boo.
Rabbit.
bad.
The push- Listen, my first season with the Cleveland Browns was 0-16. That was my inaugural season working for the Cleveland Browns. So I got scarred early.
Baptism by fire. I see the 8.5, and I want to hammer the over. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, the weakest part of this team now is our first year head coach. I mean, that's a huge still question mark, even though it seems on the outside everything is great, even though it seems that, there's synergy in the front office and all that. At the end of the day, he's still a first-year head coach who is going to be calling his own plays.
Sure.
And, I mean, we're still rolling the dice with that. I want to jump right into the schedule. The Browns are looking to kind of break this streak of week 1 games. I'll throw it to Brittany first, and then we'll go to Jeremy so you guys can get ready. Week 1, Brittany, the Browns go to Baltimore to play the divisional champions, the MVP Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Will the Browns find their winning rays week 1 this year?
No, and we also know who Brittany loves, who Brittany's favorite player in the NFL is.
No, wait a second. Lamar Jackson.
Who's your favorite player?
he has burned me more than a few times this offseason. So he and I, we're not in the best of times right now.
Not the best place, huh?
No, we're not. We're struggling. Having said that, going into Baltimore week 1, I mean, guys. Now, granted, I went through this whole schedule and I put down all my wins and losses. I did it in like 3 minutes. Just
that's the best way to do it.
Just based on my gut, I was like, all right, this is one of them that I looked at it and I'm like, all right, we're probably going to start off with a loss.
I hear that. Yeah. And my heart tell me probably my brain is like, dude, like that's they're going to look at this and they're going to get all pumped. They're going to want to get a win for Stefanski.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on.
That's my thoughts. Jeremy, you have thoughts as well.
This is the NFL, brother. They don't care about getting a win for Stefanski. Come on, man. This is not, junior high school football. This is the NFL. Let me tell you this real quick. The Browns, you guys probably know this. You know how many game openers the Browns have won since they've been back?
No.
1. We've won the opener 1 time.
We tied that one time.
1-1-17, right? 1-17-1 since we went back. We beat the Ravens in there you go. The last time we won an opener was against the Ravens in 2004. I just happened to be at almost every single one. The Browns used to open at home for some reason every year, and I've been at almost every one of them. And I've watched loss after loss after loss. I've done the same walk back across the bridge to the west side of Cleveland so many times. I have to be insane, right? So I will never, ever predict the Browns to win the opener because we're not going to win the opener. We're going to lose the opener. I guess the good news is we play 4 days later. We play Sunday, Thursday to start the season. So at least we won't have to sit there with that bad taste in our mouth long after we go into Baltimore and lose the opener.
Man, Meredith, am I the only one that's going to walk away with the dub after week 1?
So I'm going to have to say a loss for week 1 as well for a few reasons. Here's the thing. So Baltimore's coming off of a really strong season, and Lamar Jackson is very clearly the leader of that team. Baker Mayfield coming off of a rough season, got a whole new offense, got a whole new coaching staff. Even the defense is starting to be a little bit from the ground up. So I think there's going to be a lot of pieces that need to figure out how to work together, especially if we lose part of training camp. We've already lost OTAs. We're possibly going to be losing rookie mini camps. So there's going to be a lot of things that the Browns are going to have to figure out on the fly with a brand new head coach.
Hey, missing training camp and OTAs, that's nothing new for half of our offense. That's not going to be a problem.
That's so true. But yeah, I think I think that week 1 is going to be an L. Sorry, guys.
Fine. I'll be the only one with the W. I don't care. I'll carry that banner.
Chase, let me say this. Chase, let me add to that a little bit. I know we're trying to hurry through this. Let me add a little bit to that, though. She's right. Teams that already have a system in place where the guys know their roles are going to be at a huge advantage at the beginning of the season, right? We're putting in a new system, like you said, with the new coach, a lot of the same pieces, but
you're making
a whole new system with a new coach. Right, but what I'm saying is it's going to be the Ravens are going to have a huge advantage because they already know the system. They ran a year in the system. So teams like the Browns, especially in this, like we said, this is going to be something like we've never seen. There's going to be, no matter how you look at it, there's going to be limited off-season work.
So, Jeremy, listen, though. That means we know their system. They have no clue what we're going to run. I mean, we might not know what we're going to run, but they have no clue what our offense is going to look like under Stefanski. We know like the limited Ravens offense, like what they
Right,
can.
but
I'm just saying,
and
like
and
it's that
in
argument goes both
professional
ways.
sports, though, no, because in professional sports it's about execution. Why do you think they're every year going into the NBA? There's only 4 teams that can win the championship for years and years and years. Spurs,
It's a superstar
Lakers,
league.
they're like a well-oiled machine, though. You know, it's about
Right.
execution when you're at the highest levels. And if you already know how to execute as a team, you're going to be at a decided advantage in a year where the offseason is limited, like this one is going to be. So that's what worries me going into it, Chase.
All right, week 2, Jeremy. The floor is still yours somehow. The Browns host the Bengals. Rookie Joe Burrow. Battle of Ohio begins. What say you, sir?
And that's where I think we probably win by 2 touchdowns because of what I just told you. I'm sure they'll be pressured to start Joe Burrow right away. He probably won't be ready because it's going to be impossible to be ready at that point. Cincinnati has to come on the road after playing Joe Burrow's first game on Sunday. I think the Browns will win that game. I think it's probably not even particularly close.
Okay, Meredith, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think week 2 is easily going to be a win, which is exciting because that's going to be the home opener as well. So I'm really pulling for a
Yeah.
win at home to start the season.
Brittany?
Yep. W.
See, this is where, again, I don't know why this is shaping out this way. I think we're going to lose that game. I think it's going to be a letdown game from a big win in Baltimore. We're going to overlook Burrow. And I don't know. I think it's going to be the worst loss of the season for us, home against the Bengals, because they're not going to win that many games. I don't have a good feeling about it. I'm just going to say it now. They played us. I don't know. Anyway, week 3, Meredith, we'll throw to you. The Browns host the Washington Redskins.
Ooh.
Maybe
Oh,
you
my
have some
hometown
insight
team.
on that one.
Yeah, the insight is that the Browns are going to run up and down the field on that one.
There you go.
Browns by
Yes.
60 in week 3.
Browns by
Yes,
6.
sir.
Those are my kind of predictions. I like that.
Oh, yeah. Chase's bold prediction segment during the season is a mishmash of 60-point wins. Yeah, I agree. I think that the Browns are going to blow the Redskins out week 3. I think we'll be feeling good 2-1 heading down to Dallas. So, yeah, Browns over Redskins week 3.
I agree. Brittany, is that a dub for you?
Heck yeah, it is.
Nice. All right. The first one we all agree on, week 3, home against the Redskins. That means we're probably going to lose. Just going to say it.
Yeah, probably.
All right. I'll take week 4. The Browns travel to Dallas. And it's October 4th. I don't know. I think a lot depends on how these first couple of games go and how our O-line is going to mesh and gel here. Kind of how the Cowboys are going to I don't know. I see this. I see it as an L. I think you have to just look at what the Cowboys offer, and I think their offense is better than our defense at this point. I think our offense is also better than their defense, but that gives them the home field advantage. Dallas is going to come away with the victory here. Brittany, what do you think?
I have this is a win.
There you
There's no logical explanation here. I just looked at these and I went with my gut and I was like, this is a W. Didn't the Cowboys just do something weird or stupid?
Well, I mean, that's pretty. You can say that pretty much anytime. That's a statement.
I feel
that
like,
always applies.
but like within the last week, didn't they do something?
I mean, they
Was
signed
there a
Andy
They
Dalton.
signed Andy Dalton. They signed
That's
Andy
it.
Dalton.
Okay, yeah, definitely. We're blowing them out. It's done.
I thought that was a brilliant move.
Oh.
You think, we're going to beat the Cowboys in Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now Dallas has 2 quarterbacks that are really good at going 8-8. So
Wait, Jeremy, you think we're going to win that game too?
no, I think Dallas probably beats us. Like I said, I hate doing this because you never know where we are. A lot of it depends on, if we have momentum coming off 2 big wins with a young, exciting, explosive team, that could be a W. But I'm going to call it a loss now. But if we really win those 2 games in a row at home, then head to Dallas, I think it's an eminently winnable game.
I agree.
But I'm gonna say 2-2 though at this point in the season.
I agree with you. I think right now, Mike McCarthy is a better coach than Stefanski, only because we haven't seen Stefanski coach. Mike McCarthy's won the Super Bowl, and
love
I think
Stefanski though, man.
I do too.
Stefanski
But I
guy.
think just right now you have to give the edge to McCarthy just based off of his pedigree and what he's done. Brittany, week 5, the Browns host the Colts, October 11th.
Mhm.
What say you?
This one I sort of struggled with because I think the Colts are going to be pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I went with a win.
Okay. Just any thought? You just think we're gonna Phillip Rivers is gonna just not.
He's old. He's old. He's got 9 kids, bro.
Exactly.
People are
He's
really
got to be tired. That man's got to be the most tired person in the NFL.
Right?
Washed.
Gosh.
The guy plays with it is. I'll say this: he is washed. But I've always admired the fact that guy plays with more fire than I've ever seen in my life, and he's got 9 freaking kids.
Jesus,
Like
I get tired of just
incredible.
listening to that.
I get right. Imagine his
Oh.
poor wife. She spent the better part of 15 years pregnant, right?
Imagine pushing
crazy.
out 9 children.
Well, my grandmother, believe it or not, my grandmother had 9 kids. My dad had 4 brothers and 4 sisters.
Oh
And that's what my dad
gosh.
used to joke, that she spent the better part of 2 decades pregnant, which I can't even
Ugh.
imagine that. It's, if you think about it, it's pretty crazy. But no, I think the Browns win that game too. I think Philip Rivers is washed. I like the guy. He's the ultimate competitor. He's sort of like this generation's Dan Marino. He's a guy that is a fiery competitor who's won a lot of games but never won a championship. But I just think that that's a win for the Browns.
Jeez, I didn't even. Philip Rivers, I know you listen. I'm so sorry for all the hate you get on this podcast.
Oh, I just said he was this generation's Dan Marino, man. That's not hate.
Meredith, I mean, do you think we're going to beat the Colts? Is Philip Rivers washed, Meredith?
So essentially, what you're saying is Philip Rivers is never going to win a championship.
Exactly. Well,
Oh.
he's
I think the Colts.
I do like the guy, though. I do like the guy, but he's at the end of the rope.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Colts haven't been like the Colts since Andrew Luck started really battling those injuries, and then ultimately was forced into retirement, essentially. So I could see that game going either way, but since I want to stay on the positive side, I'm going to give them a win.
Wow, I must be higher on the Colts than you all. I think the Colts are going to be one of the top 3 teams in the AFC. I think their line.
Yeah,
is
they're built
anchored.
from the inside out. That's for sure.
They are.
Yes.
And I think I just think they answered a piece. They win the season. Obviously, Luck retired before Brissett was okay, and I think Rivers is an upgrade over Brissett. I really do. I think I would love to play for Philip Rivers. I love his fire. I mean, no one was going to win in San Diego. They did not do anything. So I'm bringing Travis Benjamin. Here you go, and Keenan Allen. Yeah, good
Keenan
luck.
Allen's a great player.
Go win something.
Listen, Keenan Allen's a great player, and Philip Rivers was a great quarterback. I think he's past his prime. But you're right, he's not going to have to carry that team. That's a team that's built from the inside out. It's a team with great linebacker play on defense. A team that gets, can beat you in the trenches. So yeah, they're going to be a tough out. I just think the Browns win that game.
I don't at all. Jeremy, week 6. Let me pull it up here. Sorry, I'm trying to take notes as I type. Is week 6, Browns in Pittsburgh, October 18th. Man,
Storylines on that one. You got
that is going to be.
Mm.
Woo, boy.
you got Myles Garrett going into Pittsburgh. It's going to be loud and raucous. Say the Browns do have a winning record going into that game. That'll be a fun game if, with all the storylines and, they'll rehash the Myles Garrett. I'm sure we won't hear much from Myles as far as off the field stuff until then, because Myles really is a good guy who had a bad moment. So you can't judge a guy on his worst moment, because we've all had moments, that if the world saw, they would think differently of us. So I still think Myles is a good guy, and I'm sure that he'll be a model citizen up to that game. But all those storylines will be dug up that game. You'll see that 100 times leading up to the game. The crowd is going to be booing and chanting. Oh, I can't even imagine it. So if we both have winning records at that point, that'll be a fun, exciting, loud, raucous affair.
So what's going to happen, Jay? Win or loss? Win or lose?
I can't, as much as I like to be a realist, I can't ever pick us to lose to the Steelers. So I'm taking the Browns.
Man, I love you. I love it. I love it. Meredith, is you throw some cold water on us, or are we crazy?
Now, can someone hit Mike Tomlin over the head with a helmet?
Yeah, right.
So after that game, we did an emergency pod, and it all came down to Mike Tomlin and him calling a play with like 2 minutes left and being down 2 touchdowns. So still angry about that, because that whole thing happened because he called that play.
Yes.
So,
Oh my goodness. I was saying that night, why would you continue to throw when you're down 2 touchdowns with 20 seconds left? He just got sacked twice. He's thrown 4 picks. What are you doing?
There was blame to go around, because Freddie should have got those guys out of there. Like we talked about the time they were kind of stat chasing, right? Browns players had Larry Ogunjobi had just got a sack. They probably should have had all those guys off the field. Like you said,
that's
it didn't
the offensive call.
Tomlin
You
kept
don't
playing.
pull your D until the offense is done. Brittany, are we going to go into Pittsburgh and win?
Okay. So here are my thoughts on that. First of all, did you guys see the other day somebody reported about Big Ben, his workout regimen, where it's just
it's Jay Glazer. Yeah.
He golfs sometimes, and there was a picture of him shooting a bear and drinking beer. Like, that's what he does in his off season. Now, he was injured last year. I would be kind of shocked if he even made it to week 6, given how old is he? Like 37, maybe?
Yeah, he's right in there. He was in the same draft as Eli and Rivers.
Okay.
Wow.
So, this is going to sound weird because he's, out of shape and I don't believe in him. But I think if he's there, we lose. I think if Rudolph's starting, then we're going to win. So it depends.
I agree with that. He's such a savvy vet. He's such a, Chase doesn't like him like I do. I think he's an excellent player, but you're right. He's been injured quite a bit over the last few years. Remember early in his career, his thing was extending plays. So he took a ton of hits early in his career, and that's been mounting and adding up on his body over these years.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's not exactly a guy who takes great care of himself in the offseason. So all that factors in, and I think you're right. I think I agree with that, actually, if I'm being honest. I think if he's knocked out of the season by then, we win that game. It'll be a much tougher out, obviously, if he's playing.
I am so confused. So Phillip Rivers washed. Like you don't think he can win a football game, but Ben, woo! Don't go.
Look, how many? Look, Ben's a better player. Ben's had a better career. Ben is a Super Bowl winner. Ben's had a better career. He's just also in horrific shape, like Brady said. He doesn't take care of himself like other guys do. He's, so.
Okay, so if Phillip Rivers is the quarterback of the Steelers, do they win a Super Bowl?
No.
What?
I don't think so.
Have you seen the team that was around Ben? Are you kidding me?
But Ben,
look, hesitate.
So you think Ben in San Diego would win the Chargers the Super Bowl?
We don't need to hash this out right now. We've fought over Ben Roethlisberger 100 times. Remember, over the last 3 years, because I think when healthy, he's still a top 10 quarterback. We'll see this year. We'll see week 6, Chase.
We will. The Browns.
Let's move on. Move on, Chase.
Browns by 6. My goodness, I can't believe.
No, I'm actually.
Oh my God.
I'm enjoying this argument. You want to keep? I'm going to go pop some popcorn. I'll be back in 3.5 minutes.
All right. Well, Meredith, don't go anywhere because you're up. Week 7, the Browns go to Cincinnati, try to get revenge from the game in 2019. Ooh. What's going to happen?
So,
way too early.
Yeah, before the schedule was released, my gut was saying 1-1 against the Bengals. I mean, they were supposed to be 2 easy wins last year. You'd want them to be 2 easy wins this year. I think by week 7, Joe Burrow's probably going to hit his stride and start to figure things out. So I still think the Browns are going to go 1-1 with the Bengals. I think they're going to win that home game in week 2, and I think they're going to lose that away game in week 7.
All right. See, I'm going to zig. Since I say that we lost at home, I think we're going to win this road game here. I think we're going to be kind of playing some good football and come back here. Brittany, we're going to steal one out in Paul Brown.
We're going 2-0 against the Bengals this year.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That stadium is so horrific, by the way. That is the place is the biggest pile of junk. I've been down there. That is just a horrific stadium. We're going to go in there. We're going to beat them because, look, they still have questions on their offensive line. I think Burrow is going to be fantastic. I love Joe Burrow. I think he reminds me of Andrew Luck, how easy he throws the ball. He's got such a smooth release. I think he's going to be a player. However, I think they need to build that line more. I think he's going to take a beating and get shell-shocked early. I think the Browns will win that game.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to win there. Week 8, the Browns host the Raiders of Las Vegas. I think we win this game. I think the Browns are a better team than the Raiders. I think even though the Raiders are good, I just don't think they're good enough. I think they're going to pull out a win. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun game, high-scoring game. I think the Browns are going to beat the Raiders at home. Brittany, do you agree?
Yes, and also I want to add that I'm pissed at them for cutting DeShone Kizer. So, yeah, they're going to go in and kill. They're going to kill the Raiders in the name of DeShone Kizer.
You should pick him up. What if
funny you bring him
Patriots,
up,
Brittany?
What's that?
What if Kizer goes to the Patriots?
Oh, I will be very upset if that happens. Please don't do that. My heart can't handle it.
Meredith, what will the Browns beat the Raiders at home?
You know what? I'm gonna go. Shoot, I'm so torn on this one because Raider Nation is terrifying. Have you ever interacted with Raiders fans before?
Yes.
They are they're a cult.
Mm-hmm.
They are terrifying.
I agree. It's a terrifying group of people.
Yeah. It's the week before the bye week.
It is.
Yes.
Before like a month-long stand in Cleveland.
I know it's going to be a really long time in Cleveland. I'm like, my head says loss, but my heart says win. So I'm gonna go with my heart on this one. I'm gonna say win.
Follow your heart.
Jay, we all gonna agree here with the Browns dub?
I do, because I think the big problem for the Raiders is going to be this year is at quarterback and what happens at quarterback. It's obviously a talented team, and they've done a nice job of building a talented team outside of the quarterback room. So I think the Browns win that game, but I mean the Raiders are definitely a talented team.
Agreed. Week 10, the Browns are on a bye. Brittany, we'll throw to you. I'm sorry, week 9, the Browns are on a bye. Week 10, the Browns host the Texans. The Browns have had trouble with the Texans the past couple years, especially with Baker's our quarterback. And oh my gosh, who's the tech?
Deshaun Watson.
Watson, yeah. He started my fantasy team last year. So Brittany, will the Browns figure this out, or are they still going to struggle against the Texans?
Okay, so originally, and I still have it as a win on here, but the more I think, because the Texans, Bill O'Brien, isn't he like an idiot now?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been an idiot. He's always done strange things. I mean, they traded DeAndre Hopkins, which is a strange move. Yeah, so I know where you're headed with this, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I was like, because I was like, oh, Deshaun Watson's good, but then I'm like, okay, does he have anyone to throw to now? Like what? And then Bill O'Brien is kind of acting like a crazy person, and so you know what? I'm just gonna switch that. I think they might lose this one. I'll just
I wasn't expecting the loss switch. Jeremy, are you leaning more towards the other way?
I think the Browns could win this game. I mean, you're coming off a bye. Depends, like I said, if you're coming off a few wins over the Bengals, Raiders, you have some momentum. Coming off a bye, the Texans have to come up to Cleveland. You know what? I think I'm going to take the Browns and win this game.
All right, I would be surprised if he still has a locker room by week 10, and that's the only reason why
he could be fired by week 10 for all we know. So
that's true. And the Bill O'Brien question mark is the only reason why I'm taking the Browns win here. I think Watson is a great quarterback. I think that's all that he has now, though. So I don't know, Meredith, what are your thoughts?
Well, coming off a bye week, I think it might be a loss just because they're, whatever momentum they gain in the first half of the season might be lost that week. And I also feel Deshaun Watson is he's a winner. So I feel like the Texans will probably win that game despite of Bill O'Brien, not because of Bill O'Brien. Like Deshaun Watson will probably just call an audible on every play and just be like, dude, stop. Shut your mouth. I got this.
Yeah. A lot of Deshaun Watson love here. I like it. I think he's a player for sure.
He's a great player. Fantastic.
Yeah. Jeremy, week 11, the Browns, their final homestand here against the Eagles. Very interesting draft for them. How's it going to shake out? Way too early, Jay. Week 11. Right now, this is
way too early, but right now I'm riding a wave, baby. I'm riding a wave of good feelings.
November 22nd.
That and my good buddy who I coach football with is from Philadelphia, and we'll be at this game, and he's a huge Eagles fan. So and I know he's going to listen to this. So Jake, the Browns are going to beat the Eagles. We're going to be on like a 5-game winning streak. We're going to be riding a wave into the playoffs. Browns over Eagles, baby.
All right, seems pretty confident about that. What makes you like, other than just the string of wins, Jay? What makes you like the Browns over the Eagles here?
What do you want me to say, Chase? This is fantasy land, right? I can say whatever I want.
Say whatever you want.
Carson Wentz is another. Look, Carson Wentz is another guy who likes to extend plays. He's a big guy who's already taken a beating in his young career. Who knows if he's on the field at that point? Like you said, if the Browns can start clicking, I love the system that we're going to have in place with Stefanski. If we can get clicking on offense, I think they match up well with the Eagles, especially their secondary. So I'm going to just say I think the Browns win the game.
Meredith, are you okay with that?
You know what? I really want to pick them to win, but I'm like very recently scarred by the Browns. I want to say, yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of what my schedule games were for the past few years, but I've been very pro.
Block that out.
I know, because we're now like into like almost the end of 2020. So at this point, it's like going to be the home stretch for us to get out of this like awful year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yep. Brittany? Sorry, Meredith. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I'm going to go with a loss on that one, just because me personally just trying to temper expectations on some of these. So I think I might go with a loss on that one.
Sure. Brittany, thoughts on the Eagles?
We're at home versus an overrated Carson Wentz, so I'm saying W.
Preach. I'm right there with you. I think the Browns, I really like our Browns D-line. I think it's going to make our linebackers look way better than they are, and I think we're just going to cause and wreak havoc on the Eagles. I'm with Brittany. Wentz is a little overrated. Eagles come out with a loss. Browns win week 11. Meredith, week 12. Browns traveled to Jacksonville, Florida, November 29th.
Chase, you know what's good about going to Jacksonville? The fans won't have any problem social distancing. There's nobody there to watch the game.
So I'm gonna say this about the Jaguars. There are a few teams in the NFL that have been a bigger dumpster fire than the Browns have been, and I love them for that. So number one is the Redskins. The Redskins have been a massive dumpster fire for past pretty much since Dan Snyder bought the team, but especially in the last 10 years or so. The Jaguars are another team that is just an absolute dumpster fire. Since I think I have them going 2 and 3 in that home stretch. So I think they're going to be angry, and I think they're going to want to bounce back from losing 2 at home the first series before that, and also the Jaguars. Like, you can't lose to the Jaguars, so we're going win there.
I'm gonna do a deep dive into my brain here, and this is in my brain what happened. I think this is all in my brain. Baker saw all the attention Gardner Minshew got last year and got super ticked and super jealous and super what the heck, this dude sucks, I'm way better. And I think he's looking forward to this game, and I think he's going to destroy the Jaguars just to prove that this Minshew dude is not the real deal.
Do you
That's
think
that's some mental gymnastics?
It is. I told you, it's deep.
it's good. Do you think that Baker might bring back the Fu Manchu for that game?
Ooh,
or even
if the Browns are like playing really, really well, yes, I think he will. Like if the Browns have their swag and they're like playing well and he's doing the I think if he's doing all that again, yes, 100% Fu Manchu.
That's one of the of all the dumpster fires last season, one of the most underrated ones was Baker having 3 different mustaches in a 24-hour span.
God. 3 different mustaches. It was like in a 4-hour period. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Baker needs his own
remember that
30
he
just
said
on last year.
Remember that he said he didn't deserve that mustache. That's why he did after the game. That was so freaking good. Oh my gosh.
And then he like never changed his like post game attire. He's still, even after all like the wet bandit
the
meat,
white
he never changed.
The white T-shirt, the shaggy hair, the messed up mustache. What a train wreck of a season! Oh my gosh!
Jeez.
Gotta laugh to keep from crying, brother.
Are we gonna beat the Jaguars?
Are we? Yes, Chase. We're gonna beat the Jaguars.
Are we gonna beat the Jaguars?
Yes, we are.
This is the third game we all agree on. By the way, I'm keeping track here.
Okay,
week 13, we go to Tennessee to play the Titans, and my best friend's favorite team, the Tennessee. I have friends that live in Nashville. I really don't see us winning this game. I think the Titans are still going to be one of the best teams in the AFC. I think they're going to be a really tough win. As it gets later in the year, they're built for these December, January kind of games. And I think if not, they're already playing well. I think this is going to start the Titans to make this late playoff push. I see us losing this game. Brittany, am I crazy?
No, actually, of all the games on here, and I didn't put a whole lot of losses, this was probably the easiest one to put down. I think he's done an amazing job in Tennessee, and I look at that and I'm like, this one's probably going to be a loss.
Yep. Jeremy, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. That's, like I said, that's a team that wins in the trenches. Though they lost Jack Conklin to us, but that's a team that it's going to be tough to go in the Tennessee that late in the year and win that game. I think the Browns lose to the Titans.
Meredith?
Yeah, and that's an away game for the Browns, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're going down to Nashville for that. I think they're going to lose that one. I mean, and I know we have Conklin now, but they still have Taylor Lewan, who is
a monster.
It's their Joe Thomas. Like that guy lives, eats, breathes Tennessee Titans. So,
and they drafted a replacement for Conklin. We all agree with the loss there. So the fourth game we all agree on. The first one we all agree for a loss. Brittany, to you, and wouldn't you know it, Ravens and Browns again.
Sunday Night Football.
The Browns have 2 primetime games. This is after their week 1. You said, let me pull it. You said we were going to lose to them in Baltimore. Brittany, we're going to lose to them twice this year. What's going to happen in week 14? Way too early in May. What's going to happen?
Way too early. No, I think they're going to win this. I think they split with Baltimore this year. They're going to win at home. Even though, remember last year? Oh my gosh, that game was terrible. I
Mm.
was there and we like left a little bit early. No, well, a little bit early. We left it like before halftime because it was freezing. And we got to, where was it, Winking Lizard?
Mhm.
And by the time it was the third quarter, like we left and the Browns were winning, and then they were losing by like 2 touchdowns. I'm like, what the hell happened? How did you guys give up 2
Very
That was
touchdowns from the time we
very
That was
left?
like a 6 of the
my
worst
God.
minutes of football I've ever saw in my
Right
life. I
before the
remember
half.
it.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
No, but no,
Mess.
I think this time, it's a W.
Jay, do you agree?
Yeah, I think this is the year maybe that Lamar Jackson's luck runs out. Right, he hasn't taken that many
Aw,
huge hits for guys.
Jeremy.
I know. I'm sorry. I know he's your boo, but he hasn't taken that many hits. He really hasn't. It's almost incredible. It's almost like Barry Sanders-esque. Remember, Barry Sanders played all those years, all those carries, and never took any direct hits because he was so quick. I think
Mhm.
this might be the year his luck runs out. I think Lamar, he'll be a little more beat up at that point in the season. I think the Browns, hey, what's Monday Night Football? It's going to be rocking in Cleveland. Would say the Browns win that game.
Oh yeah, Meredith, are you? That's 2 wins. Can I get 3?
No.
Yeah, I think Lamar's only going to get better.
Oh.
I do.
Leave me alone. Dang it.
Yeah,
I
Meredith.
I'm so scared of
I-
him. Ugh.
yeah, because
I hate
he
it.
was. What was he? Wasn't he like the last pick of the first round? Right in
He was-
the
yeah,
year of his
it-
draft.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, and that was like the year of the quarterback. There were like 5 or 6 really strong. That was the Baker Mayfield draft too. So there were
Yeah.
so many strong quarterbacks, and he was completely passed over by everyone. And the Ravens picked him up, and then everyone made fun of the Ravens.
Yep.
And now they're like laughing in their face. I think the Ravens are going to win the division this year, so I'm going to give them a win on that one.
It's
Ooh.
funny. It's funny that you say that too. And a lot of people on Twitter argued over that. And I said, look, a lot of people say this can't last. This can't last. The way he plays. I'm like, yeah, it might not last for 10 years, but for 4 years he could be unstoppable. And that's what I kept telling people. I'm like, be easy on this because this guy is a freak athlete, right? This guy is an elite athlete of a different level that we have not seen in years in the NFL. The guy terrifies me, if I'm being honest. I do think eventually, like I said, it's going to catch up with him, his style a little bit, and he's never going to be a guy that takes a 5-step drop and throws off his back foot in rhythm. That's not the kind of quarterback he is. But this guy is a freak. And if he terrifies me, the fact that we have to play in the division with this guy for the next few years. So all we can hope is that he's slowed and hampered by nagging injuries because the guy is something else.
I think that's slightly hyperbolic, Jay. I don't think he's like the
Please,
best
Chase.
athlete we've seen in years.
He
Honestly-
is the best athlete. If you see the guy makes incredible defenders look like, they don't belong on the field. As far as athleticism goes, Chase, he's a man among boys. He may not be the greatest quarterback. It might be hyperbolic to say as a pure quarterback he's one of the greatest. But as far as pure athletes, I think he's the best since Barry Sanders. And
This
Deion
is my favorite
Sanders.
Jeremy
This guy's a
rant
freak.
of all time.
Dude, I think
It's just true,
I think
though.
we have a player
It's
that could
true.
argue just as well as I think Myles Garrett. Are you kidding me? Have you seen?
No,
anything
I think
this man's
listen,
done?
Myles Garrett is a freak of nature as well, and this is a league of freaks. But in a league of freaks, Lamar Jackson is the freakiest athlete of them all. Okay,
No.
the guy is just a freak athlete. When you watch him on the sideline, he does this thing at the sideline consistently where he looks like he's going to go out of bounds. He spins back inside. He
Look,
breaks ankles like Allen Iverson on a basketball court. The guy is a freak athlete. Chase.
I'm not
There's
buying
Oh, Chase, my gosh, you
Not
watch
buying it.
football, bro. The guy is a freak.
I watch football. I'm not buying it.
Oh, come on.
You want to
man.
know
The guy
what
is a
else Myles
freak.
Garrett could do?
What's that?
So
box-
nobody got this. I'm so
20-foot
mad at
box
you.
jumps.
Yeah, 60,
Yeah, that
yeah,
thing is
something like, it was like
insane.
60 inch or something. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And so he did this last year at training camp, and I'm so mad at myself for not getting video of it. But when he would get bored when the offense was working out, he would go and just kick the ball. Like he would go over to where Seibert was and just kick the ball, and he could almost kick it as
Wow.
good as Seibert was. And I was like, we
Yeah.
need a kicker.
Yeah. Freak, man.
We've talked
Yeah.
about Lamar
He is a freak athlete, but Lamar is just another
a couple
level,
times in
man.
our pod. I'm not going to rehash my thoughts on Lamar. I don't trust Lamar. I think he's a very situational quarterback. I think as long as the Ravens have a good run game and as long as they're winning, I think he can manage and build the lead, and he's a safe quarterback for that situation. I think if you're down by 10,
Well, yeah.
it's over.
No
And
one's disagreeing.
doesn't
No one's
make a good
disagreeing with
quarterback
that,
to me.
Chase. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the guy is the freakiest freak athlete I've seen in 20 years in the league. I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback in the history of the league. I'm saying he is a freak. He is. I don't even know how you can disagree. Let's move on. I'm
Bro,
sorry.
I don't even know who you are right now.
The freakiest freak.
The freaky.
He is
I don't know
too.
who you are. Well, Jeremy.
Freaky.
So wait, where are we? So
Who knows?
Brittany said a win. I said a win. Meredith said a loss. Jeremy, you sound like we're never going to beat the Ravens ever.
No, because I think we're gonna win because I said I think we're gonna win because he's gonna be banged up. Hopefully,
Okay,
that's where I'm at on him.
Jay, Jay, we got to talk about that at length later.
All right,
Week
go
15.
Go.
Jay, you have the OBJ returns to the Meadowlands. Baker versus Daniel Jones. Baker's locker room material for what were the Giants like? All that. The Browns are in New York, December 20th. What's going to happen? Way too early. We're projecting to December 2020. Jay, where are we at, man?
Let me start off by saying I hate this portion of the schedule, right? What does it say? The Browns are in New York twice in 6 days over Christmas. I just think this is a stupid scheduling situation. And I understand that I understand they probably pushed games in New York back to the back of the schedule for obvious reasons. But I hate the fact that they're there twice in 6 days over Christmas in New York. I think the Browns beat the Giants and win that first game, but I just hate this portion of the schedule.
Okay. Jeremy says a win after a short week. Meredith, what do you think is going to happen in the Meadowlands?
So this is going to be a double revenge game. OBJ is going to want to get revenge on his old team, and Baker Mayfield is going to want to get revenge on everyone who compared him to Daniel Jones or, said anything bad about him in regards to Daniel Jones. So you've got two guys who operate really, really well with chips on their shoulders. And I think it's going to be the Baker OBJ show week 15. So it's going to be a win.
It's a great point too, because he got taken out of context on those comments about Daniel Jones. So Baker's going to be, that's a great point.
Did he low? Did he low?
Probably not, but
Did he low? Brittany Meadowlands.
We need the spin zone over here to figure out which way we're spinning it. But yeah.
Brittany, that's 2. Can I get a third?
Oh yeah, easy W. And also, I just want to comment. I forget that Daniel Jones is a quarterback. Like as I was going through this and making my win-loss prediction, I was looking at the Giants and I'm like, wait a second, who is their quarterback? And I for the life of me, I could not think of it until you guys said it. And I was like, oh yeah,
I only remember because
that's
of Baker's
him, though.
Comments. I'm going to be honest.
He's nondescript. Yeah.
Because of Baker's comments.
I think he could be an excellent player. He might be the perfect mentality for New York City, right? He's kind of under the radar. He's not a flashy guy.
Jeremy,
nondescript.
Lamar Jackson's a better athlete than Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I do. I think Lamar Jackson's the best athlete to put on cleats in 20 years.
Wow. I didn't realize that there was somebody out there that liked Lamar more than Brittany did.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified of him. I don't love him. I'm terrified of him.
The freakiest freak of all the freaks.
That's right, because I see what he does on a football field, and I know how hard that is to prepare for.
Let me tell you, players, as a Browns fan, you're allowed to be terrified of. Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed. They're the only players that
they terrify me too. But
to be afraid of.
I close my eyes to go to sleep at night. I see Troy Polamalu timing up a blitz perfectly and diving over the line and destroying us.
Lamar Jackson does not deserve to be in that same sentence as those legends.
He's the best athlete to lace him up in 20 years.
Meredith, week 16. I'm so flustered. Week 16, 6-7 days. They go to New York Jets. Jets, Jets. Week 16, Meredith. Hey, the Browns could be playing for something here.
Baker loves the Jets, so let's get that out of the way. I think also, I don't know if they're going to come home in between the Giants and the Jets game.
And that's Christmas week. That's such a
so you know what? They're gonna beat down on the Giants. They're gonna win by like 100 against the Giants. Yeah. They're gonna go to Rockefeller Center that week and see the Christmas tree lighting, and they're gonna have a wonderful. They're gonna have a wonderful Christmas in New York. They're gonna go ice skating. They're gonna go to Times Square.
Aww. And drink hot cocoa.
And they're gonna drink hot cocoa. And then they're gonna go embarrass the Jets.
Yeah, Martha Stewart make them sweaters.
Meredith, as you were saying that, my brain did like one of those animated stories that like kind of said what you were doing, and it was like so funny.
Like the claymation episode of Community. Like that's what it's gonna be.
That's Crazy Christmas.
Yeah. So it's gonna be Baker's Crazy Christmas.
I think any other players who would be in New York for a 2 straight weeks, whatever, I think it would be a cause for concern. I think with the media scrutiny that happened last year, with their primetime games last year, I really don't
Baker
think
right
this,
in the subway. 2
I
hours
really
before
don't
the
think
game.
this is going to be an issue. I agree with Meredith. I think the Browns are going to beat the Jets. I think they're going to just live for this spotlight, live for these moments, and I think they're
I
going
think,
to
yeah.
shine
I think
the
they're going to
brightest.
lose that
Brittany,
game.
Brittany, are you with us there? We're on a roll here.
Yes, I put W, but
Okay.
guys, I think the Jets are actually going to be better than we think they are.
Mm.
I just have a feeling. I have a feeling.
The Frank
But
Gore
I
signing.
think the Browns are going to win, but I think
Yeah,
the
that
Jets
does
are
it.
going to be
It's
better.
over the top.
Brittany's
think that
feelings
the-
make me
yeah.
nervous because she is right so many times.
Just
So
my
anytime she,
feelings.
yeah, and like anytime she comes in with that, I'm like, I start to second guess myself because Brittany is like, out of everybody, Brittany's the right, out of most of us.
That's
Is it-
terrifying.
There you go. And I think they lose that game, Chase. I think they lose this game.
Oh.
I think it's a trap, with the Christmas holiday, with being in New York that whole time. I mean, it makes it's a short ride home, so that maybe they do come home, but it's just a weird situation. I think the Browns lose that game, though.
So Brittany and Jay with an L there. I'm with Meredith. I think we're going to win. I think it's going to be a convincing win. I don't know if Adam Gase is going to be the head coach of that team by then. Again, this is December. We're living in May. Who knows what's going to happen? But I just don't see look like Adam Gase wants to be there now. I don't know.
No.
That's just me.
He's a strange cat, man. He's a strange cat.
I'm up here week
No doubt about
17,
it.
January 3rd, 2021. This is my favorite podcast. It really
Finally,
is. 2021.
You get rid of the
Way
hell
too
that is
early.
2020.
The Browns in the season hosting the Steelers. That game's going to be rocking. It's going to be loud. No matter what our record is, Browns fans are going to show up, and I think the Browns will show.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you there. If we suck, that'll be Pittsburgh, West. But we're not going to suck. It's going to be a huge game. I think it ends up being national TV. Browns coming in to play the Steelers in a game that means everything. Browns beat the Steelers at home. We go to the playoffs for the first time since 2001. Let's do it.
Browns, I agree. Browns win. Meredith, are you with us?
Yeah, I think Roethlisberger is going to be banged up by that time. I think Mason Rudolph is going to be starting. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know that he's actually going to make it to First Energy because I have a feeling that like while he's en route, like he's going to get kidnapped by Browns fans. Like I just have a feeling something like that's going to happen. No, it's going to be Mason Rudolph starting, and just the entire team is going to hate him for everything that happened between the Browns and the Steelers last year. I think he's going to get sacked a million times, and I think the Browns are going to end the season strong.
So is Duck Hodges is he not starting, like, even if
who knows?
Roethlisberger can't?
Either way, it's Duck, it's Mason Rudolph.
I forgot that Doug Hodges existed until just now.
Yeah, me too.
I thought
Shine wore off that quick.
That was
Listen.
Tomlin's best move last year, I thought, was benching the disaster of Rudolph. I think it saved a couple games. Brittany, the Steelers going to have a fight. Anything left in them at the end of the season? We got 3 wins here.
No. I'm with Meredith. I don't even know if Big Ben's going to make it to week 6. So at this point, he's done. Like, he's retired by week 17. It's going to be Mason, because the other day someone was on the radio and I didn't hear it, but I saw a tweet about it. And whoever it was said the organization believes that Mason Rudolph is going to be the heir to Ben Roethlisberger. So apparently they believe in this guy. I don't know why. But no, I think the Browns have a big win.
He's got the eyes of a goat. He's got like the eyes of a goat. Like there's nothing behind them.
He has a lot.
Mason Rudolph is like
he has a lot.
That guy he's a simple guy. You know what I mean? And
we can only hope that he is the heir apparent to.
Yeah,
Roethlisberger.
exactly.
That would be the
What
best.
goes around comes around. It's time for them to have a quarterback with the eyes of a goat for a few years, right?
All right, so the results are in. The combined record for the way too early season prediction for the 2020 Cleveland Browns for the Orange is what she said, 11-5.
Let's go.
Wow.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
We agreed on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. We all collectively agreed. Win week 3, that was the Redskins. Win week 8 against Jacksonville. Week 12 was a win. Week 12 was Jacksonville. Week 8 was the Raiders. Week 8, Raiders. Week 12, Jacksonville. Week 13, loss in Tennessee. We all said we're going to lose that game. Week 15, the Giants. And week 17, the Steelers. Those are our 4 for 4. We all agreed is going to happen. So take that for what you will. My combined record, just because I have it here, is 12. My individual record is 12-4. Starting out the season 2-5, and then winning almost the rest of them. Jeremy, did you tally as you went, or what's your prediction for this?
I didn't tally as I went, but I like that. I mean, I know I said if in a realistic world, I think we just clear that 8.5, 9-7. But in my optimistic world, I think the Browns win 11 or 12 games, go to the playoffs. This will be our year, right? The year that was just an absolute misery disaster is the year the Browns turn it around, and we go into next year with a new year and a new attitude, and going to win some games and go to the playoffs. How about that?
Brittany, what's your total record?
Let's see. What do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 12-4. Which last year I was like pretty conservative. I went 9-7. That was my prediction at the beginning of the year. So this year it's 12-4. So
There we go.
I think, yeah.
I like it. Meredith, where
Let's
you
go.
I didn't keep track. Hold on.
at? Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's fine. It's funny because like I have to play the schedule game so many times that I
feel like Meredith put down more losses than us.
I think
Yeah.
I did. I think I have like 7 wins, maybe.
7 wins.
I think.
That hurts.
So
You know what? I really want to be proven wrong. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, the Browns have done nothing to do otherwise, though. I mean, Meredith is the only real. I mean, honestly, I think I don't have it in front of me, but the weekly lines, the Browns have been like always like the best bet to be under for the past like 7 years. There's like some crazy stat like that. They've given us no reason to believe in them, to trust in them. And so Meredith, I think it's realistic, Meredith, to go 7-9. I think our 12-11, like that's.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's batshit crazy, but we're fans, right? And fan is short for fanatic. And no matter how many times I've been burned, I've been to, like I've talked about 100 times, I've been to over 100 games in the last, since '99, and I keep going back. Why? Because I'm a fanatic. I'm a fan. I'm not really an analyst. I'm a fan, and I want them to be good. Damn it! So I'm going to will them into it, and this is going to be the year because we've been through a freaking global pandemic. We've been through killer hornets. We've been through all this crap. So that means the Browns have to turn it around, right?
So this is why I want to hammer the over.
This is the year.
8.5 is just so enticing. I feel like I don't know.
It's so hard, isn't it? Because especially when you have to also take into account how everything goes in the beginning of the season. Like we're also operating on the assumption that Ben Roethlisberger is going to, because I think Britt is probably correct in that he's not even going to make it halfway through the season. So we're looking at Ben Roethlisberger potentially being injured. You have to wonder how Ryan Tannehill is going to be faring in Tennessee, and where Baker's going to be. Like, is he going to finally start connecting with OBJ? Like, there's just so many questions. So we're looking at this based on what we've seen in the past and what's on paper. So it's hard because even after week 1, all of our opinions could change.
Yeah.
So
noted Browns fan CJ McCollum bet Lou Williams on Twitter 10,000 real ones that the Browns will finish over 500. It's legit. So
let's go.
He's
let's freaking go. You know what's funny? Funny story. Last year for I think which game? Sunday night game, the Rams game. I was walking in and I looked up and there was CJ McCollum walking right next to me. I'm like, oh hey, there's CJ McCollum. Said hi to him, and then I turned around and Jay Crawford's right behind me. I'm like, wow, what a day,
I wish I could just be like, you know what? I'm going to waste $10,000 for.
Right? I wish I had $10,000 to waste.
Yeah,
that's like
exactly.
that's like me saying to you right now, Brittany. I bet you $1 the Browns go 8 and stuff. That's what it's like for him.
I'm
It's
like,
10,000's a buck.
Move some numbers around. Right?
I mean, like $10,000 to waste aside. I just wish I had $10,000. Period.
Ever.
I'm gonna put all my stimulus money on this over here.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I wouldn't be surprised if that line.
How many kids do you have, Jason?
I would not be surprised.
9.
The Browns play 4
Philip
playoff
Rivers made
teams.
out on that stimulus package, by the way.
The Browns face 4 playoff teams from 2019: Ravens twice, Texans, Eagles, and Titans. Scheduled to play 12 games at 1 p.m. So not the primetime extravaganza we saw last year, but nonetheless, a fairly favorable schedule. I'm excited about it. Any Browns news is good news. And Brittany and Meredith, thank you so much coming on the show tonight. Thank you for your time, the laughs, your expertise. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Make sure to invite us back when you guys want to have that Ben Roethlisberger and Lamar Jackson 3-hour episode where we just
Yeah.
talk about
Absolutely.
them.
Hey, you
Yeah,
guys.
I don't know what I'll participate, but let me know because I'll pop my popcorn before the podcast starts.
Hey, thank you guys. That was fun. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll have to do this again for 100% sure when the season gets a little closer.
Yes.
Thank
let's
you
do
so
it.
much. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Jay, good work, man. That was a lot of fun. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, sir. I hope with everything in me that we have a season where we can go to the games. Like I told you before, I'm certain there's going to be a season. I just hope we work something out where we can go to the games because it's going to be a lot of fun. Good work, Chase. I'll see you, buddy.
All right, let's go Browns. Hoo, hoo, hoo.
Hoo, hoo.